Hello everybody, it's Mike here at Game from Scratch, and today Haxe 4.0.0 Preview 4 was just released. And generally, I don't get that excited about new language releases, especially preview ones, but there's a new feature or new functionality in Haxe 4.0.0 Preview 4 that makes it very, very appealing, especially if you've not yet learned the Haxe programming language and you intend to, especially if you've been following along and you're interested in getting into game development using something like Ka or Armory or some of the other Haxe game frameworks such as Haxe Flixel, etc. Is this actual release makes approaching Haxe a whole lot easier for new Haxe developers, and I'll show you why in a second. Now, as to the actual release, well, first off, Haxe is available at haxe.org. The download is like 5 or 6 megabytes in size. It's available on a number of different platforms, and it can target just about every platform you've ever heard of. So if you are interested in learning a new programming language, this is one of the most accessible and now easy to learn languages out there. So what exactly is so special about Haxe 4.0.0 Preview 4? Well, they've spent a lot of time focusing in this particular release, and I will throw this link down below, but this is the big deal. They've improved compiler display services. Now, that doesn't sound very sexy, and in many ways it isn't, but what they've done is made it so basically via JSON RPC protocol, the VSCode extension now has new language feature access. So basically, that means little things like IntelliSense inside of Visual Studio Code or any other IDE, so hopefully also Code Studio for the Armory project, gets a lot more powerful. So you're seeing new functionality, new features from this, and I'll demonstrate them in a second, such as support for auto imports, support for completion of overrides, which is nice. When you don't know which classes can be overridden, you just type the word override and you can actually get a list of them there. A completion of structural field names, support for auto-generating structural declarations, function switches, and more. Context-aware sorted top-level completion, and reference finding, which explores modules that are not necessarily part of the compilation. And that stuff, the stuff that makes the IDE experience, the ability to like just type and discover how to use the language, that makes, for me anyways, learning a new language so much easier. I love having good IntelliSense support, and this makes what was already decent IntelliSense support very, very good, almost on par with what you expect from working with C# and similar in Visual Studio. So this is a great improvement for the language. On top of that, there have been some small language improvements. Improved enum abstractions, various syntactic improvements. Extern is now officially a field level modifier, and a bunch of bug fixes. So again, I will link this down below. So if you want to get into the nitty gritty details of this release, they are there. But the part, again, I am most excited about is this in Visual Studio Code. This is the Haxe extension. Basically, just go into Marketplace, search for Haxe, and it's this guy right here. Go ahead and install it, and you will see it is already up to date. So this guy works best with 4.0.0 Preview 4. God, I'm getting sick of saying that. And if you also want to work with Lime, another low-level framework kind of like Ka, there's an extension that should also be installed there. But you can see the new features have things like syntax highlighting, commands, dependency explorer, etc. But the big one, again, is things like auto import, etc. So if you've got yourself a Ka project, such as this one right here, the kind of stuff that you're now going to be able to do is just start typing your code. So I don't even know what I'm looking for at this point. Let's say range. So I need range right here. You'll see that it's in Haxe display position.range, and it's already figured out all of those available classes to me. I go ahead and use that, and boom, we'll get an auto import in of that library or that dependency. So this is going to make it so much easier and so much more accessible to use the language when you don't really know it that well. And even when you do know it well, if you've ever worked with IntelliSense, a really well-supported IntelliSense on another platform, you'll know how handy this is to your general just productivity. But for learning, this one is huge. So that's why I'm making a big deal of what is a relatively minor release, because for a usability aspect, especially for someone discovering the language, this functionality is pretty sweet. Now, this extension also, as you saw in the documentation, gives you a number of commands that are built into Visual Studio. So you can see those there as well. And this one is what you would use to basically create your first project in the first place. So if you want to get started with Haxe, if this interested you, first things first, go ahead and download Haxe itself. Then download Visual Studio Code if you haven't already. Go into the extensions, search for Haxe, install this guy right here. Obviously, I have it installed already. And then when you're ready to go ahead and make your project, just go ahead and open up a new folder. So we'll go open folder, and I will make a new folder called my new folder. My temp folder is getting really full of crap. All right, then we'll head in there and we'll select this folder. We don't save. Like so. And then all you need to do is either Control-Shift-P or press F1. We'll give that, whatever that is, a second to, all right. So press F1, and then we'll search for Haxe. And we want to do it as initialize Visual Studio Code project. Do that. It will scaffold out a project for you. So as you can see here, there is your main to start from, and your code is right there, and you are ready to go. So this combination of the new language services provided in Visual Studio 4.0.0 Preview 4 and in the new Visual Studio Haxe extension work together to make it probably as easy to get started using the Haxe language as it has ever been. And again, this is pretty important because Haxe is, becoming more popular in recent days. We've got a lot more engines and frameworks, especially as I mentioned. We've got Ka and Armory that I've been featuring on this channel quite a bit lately. So if you're wanting to get started and play around and learn Haxe, it has never been easier. And hopefully this functionality gets propagated up to Code Studio that ships with Armory very quickly, so it just makes the code completion experience that much better. So once again, I will toss in the link here to the full details of this release, but the big thing, of course, is this compiler display services for reasons I just showcased. It just makes working in Haxe that much more pleasant. All right, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed that. I will talk to you all later. Are you a Haxe programmer? Are you interested in a Haxe? Does this tweak your interest? If so, let me know in the comments down below. That's it for now. Bye.